Self-driving cars used to be the technology of the future. However, as the ability to own one becomes more available, there are increased concerns for consumer safety. Situational circumstances as well as general safety hazards are being brought to light. With such danger unavoidable, should the government regulate self-driving cars? The first death from a self-driving car was in an Uber. Self-driving cars are equipped with both radar and cameras. The camera had a greater presence than the radar at this time. The camera mistook a white car on the freeway for a cloud, and the self-driving car drove right into it, killing the man inside. Since then, radar has been given as much control as the camera, but could this situation have been avoided? Should there have been someone reviewing this hazard? There are few arguments against government regulation of self-driving cars, except that the government shouldn't be involved in everything. Other arguments are that driving would be nostalgic and that driving is fun. If that's your biggest problem with self-driving cars, you really should not be involved in this debate. However, whilst interviewing someone on the anti-regulation side, an interesting point was brought up. Wouldn't competition just drive down the cost of cars and the safety of cars up? No one is going to purchase an unsafe car. While this is a valid point, I would like to bring up a book by my friend Upton Sinclair. The Jungle was written about the meatpacking industry before its reform, discussing the putrid conditions of food prior to packaging. Though it's clearly unhealthy to eat rat feces with your meat, the companies only competed for the lowest prices, not the safest meat. And the people only purchased the cheapest meat, not the safest meat. So though he had a valid point, although competition always drives down price, competition does not always drive up safety. Furthermore, there are too many situational hazards to prevent the use of government regulation. Let's say you're driving behind a flatbed truck and a box falls off the bed. Should the self-driving car swerve into an oncoming lane of traffic to avoid the box, injuring the passengers of both cars? Or should it hit the box head-on, only injuring the one person? Obviously, the car should hit the box head-on. But what if the box was actually a girl whose basketball rolled in the street? Do you swerve into oncoming traffic, injuring another driver? Or hit the girl head-on, possibly killing her? Who gets to decide this? Lastly, there are a large number of people in the shipping and transport business. What happens to all these people to be laid off? As Leon Vanstone claims, though society has shifted from agricultural to industrial to consumer, these changes happened over generations. One person was a farmer and his son was a factory worker. One person was a factory worker and his daughter a computer programmer. But the farmer didn't have to learn how to work in the factory, and the factory worker didn't have to go back to school to learn how to code. But this transition may happen too quickly without government regulation, and we, as a society, must figure out how to deal with these massive amounts of people laid off from work. The government already has guidelines for self-driving cars, and each of them is pretty reasonable. The guidelines are broken into 12 parts, including safety, human-machine interference, and crashworthiness. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is ordered by Congress to protect the safety of all people on the road, but issued the guidelines with the following statement so as to foster growth in the field. The federal government wants to ensure it does not impede progress with unnecessary or unintended barriers to innovation. Thus, the NHTSA supports both the safety and development of self-driving cars, proving the government can get involved in this issue without taking away a company's rights. What's left? Unfortunately, more little girl in the street scenarios, but overall, self-driving cars will reduce the number of crashes per year exponentially. With this goal of safety in mind, wouldn't it be wise to ensure it with the government on the side of the consumers?